So my first story, gosh, now I'm nervous that none of these are gonna be funny. Oh man, I will never forget that. Good Friday morning, everyone. Got my cool shirt on. Namaste home with my dog, and today I am. So this weekend I have my midterm exam. If y'all remember, I am taking one online class this semester. It is technical writing because I am a communications major and I want to do well on my midterm. So I figured instead of my typical vlog today, I'm going to do like a story time type thing. So there's still an upload, but I have all the time I need to focus on my studies. And depending on when I take my midterm and how much studying I feel I need to do, there may or may not be an upload the rest of the weekend, or there may just be another story time. I don't know, I'm just giving y'all a heads up. But anyways, this is what I'm doing for today's vlog, and I want it to be kind of a lighthearted story time, so I figured I'm going to share some tales of when Harlow has had like a funny experience or embarrassed me, because those have definitely happened. And then I was hoping that y'all could help me out too, and if y'all had any funny service dog stories, or obviously it doesn't have to just be service dogs, like funny stories about your dogs or pets, or funny stories in general, if you wanted to share them in the comments, then when I go to take a break from studying, I can read them and just like de-stress. So we can kind of like help each other out today, like we always do. But anyways, I want to preface these stories by saying that when a service dog is out in public, they are in work mode. And I know I cannot speak for every single team and service dog handler, but generally service dogs love their work. As a handler, we wouldn't ask them to perform unless they enjoyed it, because they're not just service dogs. They are like a huge part of our family, and they get lots of off time to just be a normal dog. I mean, if y'all watch my videos, you know Harlow has this big, prominent, goofy side to her, and I don't stifle her personality whatsoever. And some people say, oh, that poor service dog, they look so sad or bored, and they're not like sad or bored. They're just focused on their job, because if they were smelling everything and trying to solicit attention from people, they wouldn't be focused on what they need to do. Harlow may look like she's doing nothing when she's standing next to me, but she's always tuned in to see like, okay, there's lots of distractions around me, but right now I'm focused on how my girl is feeling in case she's going to faint and stuff like that. So you know what, if a service dog's out in public, they're doing a job even if it may not be obvious, and generally they love what they're doing. It gives them a sense of purpose. And the other thing I need to say is I do not fault people for being interested in service dogs, because for me, a dog in public, that's normal. But for like the typical person, that's not normal, and it's just, you know, human curiosity. They're gonna wanna ask questions. So I don't fault people for that, but this is the kind of thing that makes for interesting stories. Okay, so now we are going to proceed. So my first story, gosh, now I'm nervous that none of these are gonna be funny. Okay, I don't remember exactly how old Harlow was, but she was over a year, and I don't remember exactly where we were, but something you need to know about Harlow is she is a gassy dog because she drinks water quickly. So anytime she drinks water, she's typically going to burp within the next few minutes. And I had just given her water somewhere, and she was sitting next to me. A woman came up and said, "What a beautiful dog." I get that comment very frequently, and if I can acknowledge that someone is talking to me, then I just say, thank you. It's an automatic response. And then she asked another question. She asked to pet Harlow, and I said, no, I'm sorry, she's working. She goes, that's okay. So she crouched right in front of Harlow and was literally just a few inches from Harlow's nose, her nose to Harlow's nose, so close. And I say, ma'am, I'm sorry, you can't pet her. And she goes, oh, I'm not petting her, I'm just getting a better look. Oh my, Harlow's tail started wagging. She didn't go towards the woman, but Harlow, you know, she's a friendly dog. So her tail started wagging, but I was proud because Harlow did not break her sit or anything. And then I say, ma'am, I'm sorry, but she's working, that could be a bit distracting. And I think she was going to say something like, okay, or I'm fine. And as soon as this woman opened her mouth, Harlow let out the biggest burp into this lady's mouth, and I just could not help but just die laughing. It was the funniest thing, and the worst part, I was the only one there to witness it. Just me and this other woman who I'm probably never gonna see again. Oh my gosh, it was hysterical. And this lady immediately got up and kind of took a few steps back, turned around, and just walked away. And Harlow looked at me like, was that okay? What happened? And her tail was still wagging, and oh man, I will never forget that. Sometimes looking back on that, I do feel a little bad, but you know, you shouldn't get in the face of a dog you don't know. Although a well-trained service dog like should not react at all, but you just never know. Like, the dog might burp right in your face. Okay, this is another story, and it took place at Disney. When I go to the parks, Harlow usually, like always, comes with me, and they have designated relief areas for service dogs throughout the parks. And we were at the one in Magic Kingdom by Pirates of the Caribbean, and if you don't know where that is, it's fine, it doesn't pertain to this story. But Harlow was smelling around, she was going to do her business, and the last thing she probably expected was a giant costume character to like come around the corner. And I don't remember what character it was, but they were escorting it to a signing place, I'm guessing, and whoever was in the costume must have liked dogs because they saw Harlow and they just very quickly like bent over a little bit to look at her, and she was facing the opposite direction. And then she turned around because she was still smelling, and then she suddenly saw this big thing, which, let me just say, she usually doesn't care about costume characters at all. We've done photos with them and meet and greets and stuff, but when you're in the vulnerable state, I guess, I'm about to use the bathroom and then suddenly this big thing's there, she like jumped and just looked at it like, excuse me, I am trying to use the bathroom here. It was quite comical. I don't know if that was like a had to be there moment or what, but we all kind of just chuckled, and the costume character kept going, and then Harlow just kept smelling, and it was fine. I don't know, I just remember that because she was kind of just like, I don't know, I think she was more like surprised and just, hey, trying to do my business here. Okay, kind of my last story here, and this is the time I was most livid with Harlow for her misbehaving. Service dogs are not perfect, and when this happened, she was young and she was not in work mode. She was playing in the backyard of Janice's house with Orion, and a puppy had come into view like just a few houses down. Janice lives in townhouses, so everyone's right next to each other. And Harlow decided to go play with that puppy. That puppy decided to run back into its house, and Harlow ran into that puppy's house. And it was just, I mean, no one got mad or any, I mean, I was mad at Harlow, but it was like, Janice ran inside, she's like, Jaquie, your dog ran into someone else's house. And I was like, what? And I go out there and I'm like, Harlow! And I just see her run out of that person's house and come towards us. And as she's running towards us, she then crashes into Janice and makes Janice fall. She's in such a hurry. Oh my gosh. That was an event. And then after the initial like, Harlow, what is wrong with you? We were all just laughing about it, and we still tell Harlow like, hey Harlow, there's your friend. It's a little miniature sized dog that Harlow still loves because they still live there. Dogs are lovable, interesting, beautiful, smart, dumb creatures. And I honestly love mine to death. I mean, y'all know Harlow if you watch our daily vlogs. She has an abundance of stories I could share. It's kind of hard to recall them right now, but she is lovable and goofy and full of personality. And you know, these interactions that happen with the public, as a handler, I try to run interference as best I can, but I am not perfect. That is why I train Harlow to be as tolerant as possible of whatever the public may throw at her, and she's pretty darn amazing at handling her environments and what people may do. And that's also why I work to spread awareness on proper service dog etiquette. You know, smile and wave, don't stare and touch. And, you know, handlers may be willing to stop and chat with y'all, but if we aren't, try not to be offended because, you know, we're not trying to be rude. Mostly we just don't feel well enough to stop and talk. So just things like that. And service dogs generally love their jobs, you know, it gives them a sense of purpose. But like I said, they're also a very big part of the family. And anyways, I really need to get to studying and get to working on this midterm and all that good stuff. So there are my stories for this story time, and I'm looking forward to reading yours. Harlow, I forgot to show you. There you are. Yep, my hippo. You had to make a debut in this story time. We were talking about you all day. Well, for the past several minutes. Got your dinosaur? All right, well, say goodbye to the people. Boop.